The reason I'm emphasizing on the delineation is because a lot of what we talk about here on the podcast, it seems paradoxical.
Mhm.
Why would you want to lean into your pain and discomfort? And then how do you then aspire to be making more impact, more ambitious, better, the quote unquote, the better version of ourselves, right? Paradoxical. Like, why dwell in the past? Why talk about it? Why talk about why normalizing this conversation? I want to move on to the next thing, the better thing, the bigger thing, faster the better. Having gone through a few similar dark night of the soul moments myself, my approach now, what I've learned is if you just patch it up and move on, the root is still there. If
That's
you
what
didn't
Jim
learn
would
your
say. So yeah, Jim would even say that. You keep asking the same question every week. I was like, what am I asking you? He goes, what are you asking? And I'd say, what am I going to get better? What am I going to get better? What am I going to get better? That was like this mantra I had. I would ask him every week, Jim, when am I going to get better? And he'd say, I don't know. When are you going to get better? And it was this idea of stop trying to get somewhere else. Be here. This is the healing right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I also love the fact that so in terms of relational, going back to my question is you put together a team of
Hmm.
professionals to help you get better
Yes.
on your path through healing and recovery. So the way I would perhaps use the metaphor is I treat myself as a high performance vehicle, F1 formula racing car, and who is in my pit crew? Who are the best who are the best people who take care of my physicality, mentality, emotionality, spirituality, relationality. I'm all of it, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And I can add a couple people to that. Thank you for giving words to that because I'd never really thought about that. But then, so it was like a great functional medicine doctor, a great psychotherapist, a great sort of spiritual coach. And then I had a great acupuncturist who to this day really helped me. And she's still in my life. And I can go further down the list, but you're right. I assembled a team that ultimately coached me back to health, guided me.
I want to ask you a follow-up question around there. So what are some of the criteria that you have regarding picking those people who's on your pit crew? And I ask this question specifically because in my mind, it's not just around their competencies, but there's something more. So I'm curious to know what your criteria is for you.
Sure. Relatability, like someone who there, you just get a felt sense for, oh, I'm going to work well with this person because I like their energy or the way that they receive me or their compassion or their ability to listen and understand the suffering that I'm going through. So to me, it was more of a relatability factor. And then, of course, philosophical alignment too. At that point, I knew what I didn't want, which was the traditional pharmaceutical approach it didn't there was no answers there for me, so I didn't want to find a doctor that was going to attempt to give me more answers with more drugs like that was a dead end game because I had already seen that. By the way, I ended up taking that antidepressant, so when that final doctor visit when he said, listen, all I can do for you is offer you this prescription medicine, I was so desperate and scared that I'm like, well, he's a doctor, he obviously knows, and if he thinks this is going to make me feel any better, I'll take it. So I got on that medicine, and for me that was one of the that didn't help very much.
Mhm.
In some ways, and I don't want to go on your show here and profess that antidepressant medicine is
It didn't work for
somehow.
you personally.
It didn't work for me personally. I would never. That's not a blanket statement. In fact, if
Totally.
anything, I will praise the medicine if it made me feel better. In my case, it became a very difficult path to unwind that. I probably wouldn't have done anything different in hindsight, but I'm just saying what I knew in that moment was I didn't think the conventional medical path had any answers for me. So,
Yeah.
as part of my criteria, I wanted to find answers in a healthier, biologically driven way
Yeah.
versus chemical driven way.